Hello, dear students. In the last lecture, we have understood the first term in the unit number first terms, that is plot, and the unit and section, particularly section A, that is elements of novel and short story. And the first element we have understood is plot. Now, the second element of novel and short story is character. So, we'll try to understand what character is. So the next we try to understand its definition. So character is a person or sometimes an animal who takes part in the action of a short story, novel or play. So in Marathi what we say व्यक्तिरेखा. सो कथा कादंबरी किंवा नाटकामधली जी व्यक्तिरेखा असते त्याला आपण कॅरेक्टर असं म्हणतो. सो समटाइम्स दिस कॅरेक्टर मे बी अ पर्सन और इट मे बी animal. Okay, in animal stories we find that the animals become the characters. Then how we understand about these characters in the story means what is the nature of the character, or if it is person, then what is his personality, what does the character thinks, means all these things we understand in the story. But what technique the writer uses to make us understand the characters? Okay, first thing is that through the author's physical description of them, means writer or the author describes the character, or his physical description means physically means how does the character look, and his personality, how is his personality, maybe sometimes the characters height or color, or what type of he dress he wears, so particularly his just look of that character is described by the writer, and from that we understand how the that character looks, or how the character stature is. Okay, so personality is okay. Then next is through the actions. So writer describe the in the story, when the story happens, the writer describes action in the story, events in the story. So how the particular character behaves, or what type of action the character does, we understand from that action or his behavior. We understand that how what type of character it is, or we understand the nature of that character. Okay, then through their words, another technique the writer uses to make us understand the characters, that is through their words, means what the or dialogue, means what the how the that character speaks, and what does he speak, how the character speaks, or what the character speaks is also very important thing. And from that dialogue or his speech also we understand that what type of character it is. Okay, through their inner thoughts. Next, inner thoughts means when the character speaks, he thinks something in his mind, so we understand what is going on in the mind of the characters, and because of that what is his psychology, what is his mind, and how does he think. So from his thoughts and feelings also we understand what type of character it is. Next is through what other characters say and think about them, means in the story or in the novel there are other characters also, and those other characters what they think about these characters, means the characters think or treat each other, or they talk to each other. So from their dialogues and from their treatment to each other we can understand what type of characters are they. Okay, next we shall try to understand uh, what there are there are major and minor characters in the story. So sometimes the story revolves around a particular important character, and that character we say that it is main or major character or central character, and this main or central character is called as the protagonist. Okay, so protagonist is the hero or the heroine of the story. So it's protagonist is a very important character because the story revolves around that character, and whatever happens in the story it is related to that particular character. Then the character opposing the main character is called antagonist. Means in the story there is conflict, and because for the conflict there should be something, some villain should be there in the story, otherwise story will not go forward. As we have seen in the plot, that is there are 5 parts of the story. So when the story is going towards climax in the rising action, at that time what happens, there's something starts happening between the characters, and then in the climax we find that conflict reaches at the highest point. So this conflict is mostly between 2 characters, and I have told you that that is the main character and the other character should be there. But this conflict may be sometimes between, you know, man and man, or man and nature, or in the mind of the character. So so this antagonist is maybe a character, or maybe something, some force. Maybe nature sometimes becomes antagonist, because something which you know, opposes the main character or the protagonist, that character becomes antagonist. So sometimes, you know, nature also plays the role of antagonist, that it plays the role of villain. So every time, it is not that every time the person should be there for playing the role of the antagonist. There may be some other force that can become antagonist. Okay, so antagonist is the opposing force, or particularly, or maybe opposing character to the protagonist. Next, we shall try to understand the types of character. So there are two main types of character, and they are a rounded character, and another is flat character. So what is rounded character? That is, this is a dynamic and many-sided character, and changes by the end of the story. So mostly the protagonist or the major characters in the story are rounded characters, because uh, story revolves around them, and uh, something happens which is very much important, and these major character or protagonist takes part very important, they play very important role in the story. And because what happens then, because they are major characters, they are dynamic, or they are very active, they do something, uh, or some action in the story, which is very important. So they are many sided, means, you know, uh, they have various aspects in their character, and sometimes you find that the character changes, and they do not remain as it is, they change at the end of the story. And because of that, we call them a rounded character. So protagonist or some major characters are mostly rounded characters. And flat characters means this is stereotype, or does not change by the end of the story. Means mostly the minor characters are flat characters. For example, if there is a servant in the story, the servant remains as it is, how he or she was in the beginning. We find the same character, or his nature is not changed at the end of the story. Means the flat character does not change at all, it remains as it is. But the major or the characters or the protagonist, we find that they're changed at the end of the story. So the characters which do not, or who do not change at the throughout the story, they remain as they are, they were in the beginning. Then we call them flat characters. So we should remember that major characters are mostly round characters, and minor characters are mostly flat characters. So I think you have understood everything here: definition of character, and also how do we know about the characters, how writer describes the characters in the story through various techniques, or by using various, you know, various things, means dialogues or action, um, and the other characters also. So okay, we should then we have also understood what is protagonist and what is antagonist, and next we have also understood the types of characters, rounded and flat characters. So I think you have got very well what a character mean, and you have to write a short note about this particular topic. And because of that, I have taken it, or I have prepared a very short note about this character in this PPT also. So next we shall, in the next lecture, we'll learn about the next element in the next element of the story or novel or play. And now let's stop here.